Welcome back to Living with a Classic. As you probably saw from the thumbnail of this video and the title, I've picked up another Jaguar S-Type from the 60s. However, don't worry, I'm not restoring another one. I am restoring the main one, my 1966, but I realized I was missing some parts, and then this car came up as a parts car, and it really has all the things I am missing, so I couldn't say no, and now I have this old rusty sort of heap sitting here in the behind my farm. But I don't want to have it sitting here that long. The idea is to just strip the parts I need, strip off some extra parts as well. Maybe someone else who's restoring one of these has some parts they need as well. Get those off, and then the rest will have to go to the metal recyclers, because this thing is, well, it's pretty rough. Let's have a look at it. Here it is in all its glory. You may be wondering how I came across these, because the S-types, or the 3.4, the 3.8S as they're really called, are not very common where I live in Sweden. And I need to thank the guys over at English Car Care, Steve, who has that company. I was there with the Range Rover a couple of videos ago, and he got the owner got a hold of him about this car and asked him if he wanted it as a parts car, and then he contacted me. And I said, yeah, definitely, sure, because it has some of the things that I need. So I'll sort of demonstrate why it is a parts car. You see, it is very, very rusty. It's incomplete. It doesn't have an interior. It doesn't have a dash. It's missing a lot of other things. And, it's been off the road. It's been inside for a bit, but it's mostly been outside the last couple of years. So it is very, very rusty, this one. However, it does have a little bit of interesting history, so we can, talk about that. It's a right-hand drive 3.4 automatic, and we'll get to the whole engine and gearbox situation a little bit later. It is pretty low mileage. I have the last MOT, and it had about 36,000 miles, which is about 54,000 kilometers on it. That was in 1977, and I believe 1978 was the last year this thing was driven. That's when it was taken off the road, and there was no more, documentation of this car after that. The previous owner had it since then, and he had plans on fixing it up, and I think he wanted to convert it to left-hand drive and do a bunch of other things to it. However, it seems that life got in the way, and that can happen sometimes. And then apparently he moved several times, and having a car taken apart when you move is not the easiest thing, and he lost things. And now finally it was sitting outside his house, and he wanted to get rid of it. But I'm very happy that Steve at English Car Care contacted me, because I definitely need a parts car. This is the first time I've actually bought a parts car. I'm not that happy about having cars sitting outside, sort of junk vehicles. But I have it all the way in the back of my property, and pretty soon when the trees get green here, you can't even see this thing from the road. And also my plan is to take the parts that are usable, that I need, and some spares, and then get rid of the rest. I'm going to see in the local community if someone maybe wants part of the body, because like the front of it around the headlights and stuff, that's all good. There's really no rust in there. The rust is down here. But if you have one of these that's maybe gotten a hit from the side or something, then they can have part of the body shell that they need. I'm going to keep I'm going to keep quite a bit of things. I'm going to keep all the chrome, even though all of it is not in great shape, but it's good to have spares. All the chrome and stuff on my car is in really good shape. However, you never know what happens. Maybe when I restore mine, a couple of months later or something, I might get rear-ended, and I might need to get a new bumper. So here is, a bumper. Someone's fit a tow bar, which is kind of cool. However, here is a bumper that is not in the greatest shape. It's dent-free, so it can definitely be re-chromed. And yeah, also the one chrome thing I'm missing from my car, this little strip here, is complete here. I mean, it's a little bit pitted. You can see if it can be polished up. Otherwise, that can be, re-chromed or something. All the glass is intact and in good condition. There are no scratches or anything, so I will be keeping that, because you never know what happens. I might drop a piece of glass. Maybe when I put mine back together after I paint it, I may crack something. You never know, so it's good to keep spare glass. That is something that's very, very expensive. Another thing I am missing on my car is I am missing, I think, one or maybe two of the gas caps. So having those, I mean, that's just a great thing. Because like I said, these cars are not that common where I live, which means I have to get parts from abroad, which means they have to be sent here, which means eBay, this is just a lot more economical. Also, my fuel tanks look pretty terrible inside, and these actually seem to look a little bit better inside. Okay, this is the one that looks a little worse. The other side, I think, looks a little bit better. So I'll see which tanks are in the best shape, which ones I'll be restoring with a line or something, because new fuel tanks for these cars are incredibly expensive. And as you can see, that doesn't look too bad. So maybe these tanks can be saved. Interior wise, it's pretty much just missing or all disintegrated. So there's nothing really here. The previous owner, I believe he kept the dash as a decoration or something. But I mean, the wheel is here. That's nice to have a spare one. I think mine is a little bit better shape, but then one of those can go on the wall as some cool art. This was left of the exhaust. There was a front bumper with both overriders. I'm missing a couple of overriders, so that is great. And in these bags, I believe it's just all the carpets for the car. So that's basically, I'm just gonna throw that away at the dump when I clean all this out. Yeah, it's just carpets and things. But other than that, it is complete though. So all these little fasteners and screws, I mean, all my door handles and things are in much better shape, but it's good to just have spares. You never know what happens. And same goes with all the glass. However, let's get to the real reason. It's under here. Like I said, this car was a 3.4 automatic. And if you've been following the channel, you know that my car was originally a 3.4 automatic as well. However, when it was taken off the road, the engine and transmission was sold out of it, and someone put in a 3.8 from a Mark II. So it is, you know, pretty similar engine, or it's the same engine. However, I don't have a transmission. I don't have anything else. I had plans on maybe making it into a manual, which I think is what the previous owner of my other car wanted to do to it if he had kept it. However, that is very expensive, and yeah, things like that. So here is a 3.4. It is complete with a starter and the transmission, and I believe drive shaft and all of that. It is just missing the intake, water pump, radiator, but it has the exhaust manifolds on there. And if we were to believe, you know, the mileage, which seems credible because it was so long ago and I know it was taken off the road about a year afterwards, it's pretty low miles. Yes, it's been sitting forever. However, it should definitely be restorable. So my idea is, it might sound a little bit crazy, but to see if this engine could be okay to be restored, restore this one instead of the 3.8, and then possibly sell the 3.8 instead. I can get a little bit of money for 3.8 since those, you know, fit in early E-types and Mark IIs and other things. And then I would be returning my car to pretty much the original spec. And I think I like that. And also, I do need, you know, a little bit of spare cash for restoration. It will be expensive. So this should be a good deal. Also, it has the one thing that I am missing from the other engine. So even if this engine maybe is completely seized, I end up using a 3.8 instead. I do have a dipstick, which is the same for the 3.4 and the 3.8. There is oil in it, so that is a good thing. And just something like that, I figured out, like a dipstick for these early cars is difficult to find and very, very expensive. Let's have a look in here. Yeah, it's just dark, but there's oil still up there around the camshafts. And the great thing is, I've already felt a little bit, all the spark plugs are loose, so they should be able to come out. So I thought what we could do as a fun thing, maybe in a future video, let me know if you want in the comments down below. See if this thing at least turns over, maybe even get it to fire into life. I do have a spare intake manifold from a later 4.2 with carbs on it, but we could just slap that on, basically see if it fires, or maybe not even do that, just maybe run a compression test on it, see if it's would be an okay candidate to rebuild. But I think what we can do in this video is just blow off the dirt in between here with some compressed air, get the plugs out, put some penetrating fluid in, and let's see if we can actually get it to turn over a little bit. If we can't, then I'll put more penetrative fluid in and ATF and other things. But let's sit for a couple days and then we'll come back to it. The other mystery is I cannot get into the boot. It has the little button down here is just completely gone and it is locked or something. So that might be in a future video as well, getting into that and seeing if there are any good spares in there. I just brought a small compressor with me outside, so I'm just going to blow off all the dirt around here, and then we'll see if we can get those plugs out. Should be pretty clean now. I did check them all yesterday, and they did move, but a quick squirt of penetrative fluid on them. And let's see if we can get them out. Oh yeah, no problem at all. Here's one that's all the way out. At least it's not broken or anything and doesn't look weird. I mean, what can you expect if an engine's been probably not run since the late 70s? But the good thing is that for at least the first couple of years of all that, this thing was stored inside. So hopefully the manifold has not been off that long. Hopefully there are no major issues. That one is actually pretty much almost closed up due to something growing on there, maybe oxidation. And that one, they're all very unevenly gapped, but at least I got them all out. I'm just going to give each cylinder a pretty good squirt of this penetrating oil. Alright, some of it's coming out of the intake there. That has an open valve. I'm going to let that sit for a couple of minutes while I find an appropriate size socket for that so we can see if it even turns. I don't want to turn it full revolution. If it does, I just want to see if it's completely stuck or if it's, you know, able to turn. If I get it to be able to turn, I don't want to turn a full revolution now. Then if you guys want to, there will be a future video where, you know, we'll see if we can get it to turn a full revolution, maybe see if we can get the starter going, see if we can get some compression, and maybe even see if this thing briefly even fires into life. I mean, I would need to put a spare distributor in and a few other things, but if you guys want to see that, let me know in the comments down below. Also, I would not turn the full revolution out because all the cams and everything are completely dry. So then I would remove the covers, smear some oil over that, and that timing chain, all that, pour some oil down there so it doesn't turn over completely dry. But let me go and get a socket and let's see if this thing even turns a tiny bit. The socket I have is not a perfect fit. It's a metric that's pretty close. I don't have I think it's a 1 inch or something. Couldn't find at least, but let's just give it a shot. I have a long breaker bar on here, and all right, that is pretty stuck that way. Try the other way. I'm going to get a little bit of a longer breaker bar, so I'm going to put on a breaker bar and just try it a little bit more. It seems pretty stuck. All right, I loosened the crank. All right, there's a little rust there. That loosened up the crank nut a little bit, so I think I only really have one way I can go. All right, this thing is stuck. So this thing is really stuck, and that was no surprise. I mean, it's been sitting for so long. Honestly, I haven't tried with a long bar on the engine in the other S-Type just because some of the plugs don't come out of it, so I haven't been able to pour down. But I tried just with a normal breaker bar, and that one doesn't really budge either. And what to expect, both of them is sitting since the 70s, so I will not give up though. Would you guys like to see a future video after I've let this thing sit for a while? I'm going to fill up the bores with a mixture of anything really, ATF and acetone. I've heard is really good to get up stuck rings. Might even have a look down inside them with a borescope camera, see how they all look. Maybe it's completely rusty in the bores and there's not even a chance. But let me know, would you like to see that in a future video on the channel? Please let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. And I'd like to thank the supporters over on Patreon for your continued support. It really does help a lot, and it means a lot, and I'm very, very thankful for that. Anyways, until next time, I'm Adam, and this was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.